Oh, jeez. Where did that go? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, there we go. Everything's disappearing. Everything's running away. Hey Zane, hi Jennifer. What's up people? Let's draw. I got my big cup of coffee, got my pencil, got my paper. It's time to draw, no denying it. There's no shying away from it. There's no hiding from it. You just gotta do it. Getting it in. Just doing what needs to be done. Let's get to work, people. Arctic, you don't need to apologize. No one ever needs to apologize to me. It's all right that you can't watch the stream. It's a miracle that you would show up at all. There is no need to ever apologize ever for being unable to watch. To be watched while drawing at all is a strange cosmic privilege. A weird and very lucky particular niche that I have stumbled into through blind luck. To apologize to me for being unable to watch is abject in the extreme. An absurdity. One of the most surreal things life can contain. Don't you worry about it. Go finish that assignment. Hello, Dragoon. I hope everyone's drawing goes well today. Enjoy your drawing companionship. Enjoy knowing that other people are drawing. It's like a globe-spanning group meditation. That's really what it's like. It's like, you know, somewhere else out there, some group of people are simultaneously engaged in the same meditative practice that you are. They also are in the void between realms, are sitting with their own thoughts as they plumb the murky depths for some internal image, something of their own creation. Yo, I'm drawing with that cup of coffee right now. I'm need that coffee in my bones. I need the coffee to get inside, in my bones. That's where I need it. I am having a very good day. It's off to a fine start. Wait, did I walk my dog? Yes. Yes, I did. No worries. I did. How do you come up with your ideas? I have no clue. I don't think anybody does. Ideas come from absolutely nowhere. And even once they show up, your inclination to like one idea and dislike another is, you can't account for it. You know, you can make up a story. You know, you can tell yourself a narrative like, oh, I don't like that one because such and such is my taste, or ooh, I do like this one because it has this aspect, but you're just making that up after the fact. You just either liked it or didn't like it for reasons you can't explain. Not truly. Yeah, I don't know where ideas come from. I certainly don't know where mine come from. One moment they're not there, and then all of a sudden they are. From whence they came, I have no idea. Like all thoughts, emotions, and mental constellations, they simply arise from a mystery behind the eyes. This is very difficult to accept, and an even harder place to live from, but it is the truth. I try to spend, these days, I try to just spend more time interfacing with that mystery instead of trying to understand it or control it. Enough years have gone by that I see, at least for me, there is no controlling it. Just let things happen. Everything occurs on its own. Caffeine is instrumental to becoming a master at anything. Yeah, I don't like who I am uncaffeinated. I'm a worse person. I'm a worse friend. Worse husband. Worse dog owner. Worse listener. New podcast in the future. I have to say I'm a little confused by the amount of people who ask for a new podcast. It's like the one quote unquote podcast episode that I did is just me talking the way I always talk in any of the videos, just there's no video running. There's no visual. So I don't know, I mean everything on my YouTube is basically a podcast, right? Everything that is everything that's not a live stream is just, those are the podcast episodes, you know? That's all I would talk about. I would talk about the exact same things on a podcast. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what people want, but yeah, I'm very confused by that, which I get with some regularity. biceps femoris. Long head and short head in there. Got semitendinosus and semimembranosus over here on the inside of the thigh. I'm not going to differentiate them as clearly, though. Only freaks have a visible differentiation between semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Your tensor fascia lata is showing. My iliotibial tract is showing right now. Put your vastus lateralis away before I call the cops. Hey, Necrovol. Steven, who is your favorite draftsman of all time? My personal favorite is probably Frazetta. But it might be different on any given day that you ask me. Frazetta is probably my all-time favorite. And has influenced me more than anything else, probably. Thoughts on Mobius? He was great. Who doesn't have that thought on Mobius? Who gives a thought on Mobius like he's a hack or something like that? I think Claire Wendling is probably the best living draftsman right now, in my personal opinion. I don't think anyone draws better than Claire. But that's also subjective and silly. Familiar with Hergé, the Tintin creator? I've seen some Tintin, but not a lot. I don't generally look at I generally don't look at a lot of comics stuff. I'm really more of like a still image kind of a guy, or single image kind of a guy. Like the comic stuff that I really love is usually just panels that just happen to belong to a comic. You know what I'm saying? It's like they would have been just fine totally out of context on their own. It's the ones where the artist anyway was just like, screw it, I'm gonna make this one panel like it's its own independent masterpiece, you know? How should I practice digital painting? I really want to get good at it. I just don't know how to go beyond basic looking apples. Yeah, you're not... The important part there is not the digital part. Like, you just want to get good at painting. It doesn't matter what the medium is. You want to go down the rabbit hole of... It's like, I hate to break it to you, but like, there is no just being good at painting, right? If you are great at painting, you are a great designer. You know, you are making ingenious choices, you are editing beautifully, you are engaging the principles and elements of design in unique and varied ways. You have a kung fu grip on your medium. It's like, there's no way around it. There's no just being good at painting. Anything that you love, anything that you think of as like, this is being great at painting, it's like, it's so much more than just being skillful at painting. Being skillful at painting is like the end result of this huge plethora of collected and conglomerated skills that needs to be put together. So if you really want to get good at it, open your mind. It's time to go down the rabbit hole. What does it take to make great pictures? There's no easy answer. There's a reason you covet it. There's a reason it leaves an impression on you, and there's a reason it's so rare to be good at. It is hard won, hard fought, oftentimes troubling and frustrating, deceptive. And in the end, it is a very Zen-like journey. It requires you to live in paradox and balance carefully. And by the end of the journey, you will be forced to love yourself. And there might be some part of you that will resist that. Yeah, I like brush pens. They're good. I don't really do finished work with them or anything, but I use them to sketch all the time. Use them to sketch all the time. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. That didn't sound optimistic at all. That invocation to accept painting for what it really is. I mean, it's optimistic for... I think it's optimistic for a particular personality type, right? Like, there's great optimism to me in the fact that in this world, there still remains something that is utterly mysterious and that cannot be communicated through objective means, right? Like, so many things like exercise and things like that. People can just tell you, do this number of things, this number of times, this number of days a week. You will hit these milestones. You will be able to lift this by this time, right? Working out is like that. Handling your investments, like how to get through school, even being a doctor. It's like, do these classes in this order over this many years, and if you don't quit, you will be a doctor. There's one little thing left in the world that you deceive a person if you tell them there's a direct path to it. There is still one path of mystery left. To me, that's very optimistic. Yeah, I bet Notes from the Underground is hilarious. I'm sure it's very hilarious. I'm sure reading Dostoevsky at his most suicidal is a fit of laughter. Is art a religion? Most artists treat it like one. It's not religion by most people's definition of religion, but if you track what artists are actually doing moment to moment and you look at it in the abstract, they're treating it like a religion. You know, they're reading all the old books. They're listening to the current interpreters. They're ritualistically engaging with it with regularity. People are debating the ontology of it, the teleology of it, even the eschatology of art. Sure feels like a religion. Oh, I'm happy to have helped your mental health, Pablo. Cheers. It is an honor to be of service. Thanks, Kawaya. We do live in wonderful times. It's amazing what technology allows us to do. I often think about, like, I wonder what technologies will come around after I'm gone, after I'm dead, that I would have been like, damn, could have made some cool art with that. I often think about that. Either made cool art or shared it in a cool way, the way that streaming allows me to do this. I suck at making shapes look interesting. I just hide them with excessive rendering. Do you have any tips for this? Maybe a vid you already did? I don't know if I have a vid that I already did, but there's an infinite variety of way to make shapes look interesting. I think the most common prescription is to make sure they are varied. That's what most people could use more of. Make sure that you have a good variety of small shapes, large shapes, medium shapes, all jumping around. It's like there's no such thing as like a good or bad shape in some absolute sense. It just comes down to, are you giving them appropriate contrast to foil them off of each other and let one emphasize the other and let them support each other and things like that. What will happen to art when climate crisis ruins everything? Our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you. All were spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. Favorite part of the human body? It's got to be the arm. Hello, Steven. What do you think about the manga anime style? Oh, I don't know, it's probably God's language, I would say. I think the manga anime style is probably Plato's realm of ideals. It's like the most perfect, most pure, most noble distillation of any given idea or object, and everything else that we interact with in the world is some sort of imperfect facsimile of that ideal truth. I think that's how most people feel about it. Steven, do you know what inspires some of your art? I feel like there might be some biblical images, interpretations, but I'm just guessing. Also, I'm not knowledgeable about Christianity. I think I know what inspires my art, but I don't share it generally. And one of the reasons that I generally don't is that I'm also very open to the idea that I'm completely wrong, right? I can't deny that it's possible that I don't understand my art at all, right? I like to do the deductive miracle here. The nature of life is unknown. Drawing is a part of life. Therefore, the nature of drawing is unknown. I don't want to get too sure about my little stories about why I do this. It's like, they seem like they will serve only as traps. You know, if I just get out of my own way and stop thinking, art makes itself just fine. Don't see much reason to interrupt that. Interesting, but do galleries buy that though? I don't talk to galleries. I'm happy to be in a position where I need not explain myself to anybody. Why do you think the nature of life is unknown? Seems self-evident. And any answer you could give to what the nature of life would be would only be an answer, and it could not possibly be the nature of life. Whatever answer you could provide would just be words and thought forms contained within the nature of life. I'm not sure the nature of life is for humans to understand. Steven, advice on how to slow down while doing art. I tend to rush. You know, I think this is different for everybody, but this is funny. I'm actually going to give a little lecture on this point later in my workshop today. What always works for me is that let's say I'm feeling like, I'm going too slow or something like that, or it feels like a drawing is going to take a day or a week or a month or a year, whatever the drawing is like making me, however much time the drawing is making me think it's going to need, and I want to rush through it, or I feel like it's not worth spending that much time on it. Let's say it feels like a drawing is going to take, let's say it feels like a drawing is going to take a month, and that scares me. I always just think, how many months of my life have I let go by where I did not produce a finished drawing? Countless. And I just think about that until it fixes everything for me. It's like even a year is nothing in comparison to that, you know? I've had years where I drew every single day, and at the end of the year I didn't add anything to my portfolio. It's like, from that viewpoint, I would be lucky to actually be able to spend a year on a drawing. Like, instead of being afraid of that, it's like, that'd probably be my best drawing ever. Hi, Humpster. How's it going? I'm good. Same old, same old. Making drawings, drinking coffee, listening to Ariana Grande. What else do you need? It seems like the more time I have, the worse my painting comes out. You have any idea why? You're probably not putting enough time up front into planning and going slow. If you rush to the beginning, that usually screws you, no matter how much time you put into it. If you accept that things take a very long time and work slowly and deliciously at the beginning of the process, then you can usually spend productive, huge amounts of hours on the drawing. Killian says, what to do when the process never was fun, when the only aspect that keeps you going is the prestige that one romanticizes. Well, there's two things here. I would say you could go one of two ways. I would say either quit, because there's no prestige in art, right? Like, normal people don't know Normal people don't know the names of artists or anything like that. Nobody cares. Artists aren't influential or popular in any substantial way anymore. If you want prestige, I would probably become a filmmaker instead of an artist. They get prestige and are much more influential, and people still occasionally make movies that really change a lot about the world, but artists don't really do that anymore. So if it's really just about the prestige, I think quitting is definitely a viable option there, and just moving on to do something else that will get you more prestige. But the other side of it is just own it, right? If you really, really just love doing great drawings that make people go like, oh my God, you're amazing, that's so good. It's like, just own it. Just be that bastard. Just own it and say that's all you care about, and just get the mental insecurity out of the way and just be that. Who cares? The people who are going to hate you for that, they're going to hate you. Like, yeah, cool. All right, whatever. Let's move on. Let's make great drawings. Just own it and do it. And if really all you care about is the prestige, just be so good and so shameless about that you create a new level of prestige that no other artist has. Like, just be the best at that. Be the best prestige hungry bastard in the art world is what I would say. The practice is whatever you want, you know? Art practices are utterly structureless. There's no rules. There's nothing that's more or less noble. And it's really just a way for you to engage with primal creativity. So you can concoct whatever sociopathic, psychopathic art practice you want, and it's totally valid. And just go for it. Just try not to hurt people. Or yourself. Don't Van Gogh and cut off your ear. Thanks, Ada. You're always so kind. My pleasure, Killian. I know that probably sounded a little extreme or wild, but that is my real opinion. I mean, literally just anyone who by accident makes good investments in the stock market receives more prestige in our culture than even the greatest artists. Like, you can just have bet well enough on stocks to get rich enough that you will sell out whole conferences for people to talk to you, and people will basically build a religion out of you. It's like, there's no prestige in art. That might change later, but for now, there's no prestige in art. Steven, what do you think about Anish Kapoor copywriting a color? I mean, it's silly, but the world needs variety. Considering that existence could have not been, I think it's nice to see something different every now and then. Let's iterate eternally on every possible permutation of consciousness. That's what I think. Variety is the spice of life. I tend to spend an excessive amount of time on searching references for projects, and I feel like the references start limiting my ideas instead of enhancing them. Any ideas on finding a good balance? That's a pretty nuanced question, but my gut says that the real problem there is that you don't finish the projects. It's like the way that real commercial products get made, like whole video games and things like that. Whatever you think is excessive is baby numbers compared to the amount of time spent searching for references to make a video game or a movie or something like that. That's people's whole job. That's art directors' whole job. There is really, it's like, whatever you think is excessive is not the years that can be appropriately spent collecting references for a substantial project. So, yeah, I think the underlying problem that I detect in your question is probably that you just don't make the project. And that's all right. That's everybody's problem. That's the most common plague for artists in our current artistic culture. So I think if you purify that, if you actually make the stuff that you want to make, I think you'll very quickly forget about your little reference problem that you think you have right now. Actually making the stuff purifies almost everything in art. And it's like if you're actually in a healthy practice place where you're going to make the things that you want to make, it's like you're not going to make up a problem like, oh, I have so many references that I don't finish my project. It's like, that just seems crazy. I didn't mean for that to sound harsh, Nepathian. That's coming from someone who has struggled with that their whole life. I'm not speaking pejoratively to you, I'm speaking pejoratively to that problem, which I truly wish could be resolved for all artists. Hey Steven, do you think one can learn the same principles of oil painting by learning digital painting? Oils are really expensive where I live, so it's a turnoff. I'd have to say no for all intents and purposes on that one. Maybe you could if you really applied yourself and you were like a super resourceful genius, but for the most part, no. I think that's too big a gap. What really is a finished piece? You can't put it into words, but you know it when you see it. I'm beating this piece of paper up. It's all. I keep folding it up against my camera frame, and that's all. It's curling up at the edges and stuff like that. How long have you been drawing for? Long time. My whole life. You like the sinewy legs? Well, I'm glad, Benjamin. I'm very glad. Any advice to break procrastination? I have some drawing to do, but like I can't make myself want to sit down and draw, and they're due in like 2 days. Advice? Yeah, you probably just don't care about what you're drawing. You're probably just not excited about it. And that's either the faults of like your client or the teacher or something like that, which is like, if it's the teacher's fault, because they trapped you into an assignment that you find boring, world's full of crappy teachers. If it's the client's fault, you got to get over it. They're paying you. You got to do what the client wants. If it's not for a client or for a teacher, yeah, you shouldn't have put yourself in that box. You've got to. Art is really hard to do. It's a mental war, and you've got to really be pumped for the thing that you're making. You got to care a lot. You got to really like it. It's like you're bored for a reason, you know? You're probably doing just something that you think you have to do or that someone else thinks you have to do, and you are not really emotionally engaged with it, and so, yeah, just interest is low. Is actual life drawing, not reference images, really overrated by artists? If it's not, shouldn't we all be great at drawing hands? Well, if you actually looked at your hand and drew it every day, yeah, you probably would be great at drawing hands. I don't think it's overrated. I think both have their benefits and their drawbacks, both drawing from photos and drawing from life. I've drawn from life a ton, so I can't in good conscience say that it's not useful. It's taught me so much. Yeah, sorry if it's Arushan, sorry that it's a school thing. That's just the problem with art schools. There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah. In general, for people in art school, I think you should remember that your grades and your diploma and everything, they don't matter at all. So the only people they matter to are your parents, which is probably a big part of why you're there. For a lot of people at art school, I would advise, I know this isn't ideal and it's very difficult for most people to do, just if you have teachers who trap you like that and they won't work with you, just screw them. Just don't do it. Don't do their assignments. Just take the bad grade, have them yell at you. Like, if they're yelling at you, they're probably out of balance on their own anyway. It's like, just don't waste time doing stuff you don't care about. I say that as someone who has been a college art teacher. It's also just like, it's mystifying to me. Like, I personally I never had trouble just letting go and letting students do what they wanted, right? People who have something against that, they're just art teachers who don't have enough to say. They just feel like they're afraid of having to critique stuff that they don't think they're experts in or whatever. I don't know. Have you ever taken anything in STEM education, Steven? Nope. All art all the time around here. How do you approach value differences in the figure itself? I don't, generally. I ignore local value changes when I'm drawing. I draw everything like it's a white marble sculpture. When I paint, I'll introduce some of that stuff, but in pencil, the value range is so limited that I want to reserve the full limited value range of pencil to explain the light and the form. So yeah, I really don't address local value changes on the figure. Why don't you use blending sticks? I use them constantly. What are you talking about? I'm using one right now. Do you also do graphic design, or did you? Did it satisfy your art side? No, I don't do graphic design, to my detriment. I don't find shapes captivating enough on their own. I'm a form-based artist, so graphic design has never tickled me. It's like I got into art to make things look illusionistic, you know? To make them look like they were round or real or something like that, so graphic design really doesn't interest me at all. How do you feel about combining Copic Grayscale with Graphite? Seen some artists do it successfully, and the dimensionality and values are amazing. Yeah, I've done it before. Don't have a lot of thoughts beyond it works. Alex D, I just started listening to Paradise Lost because of you. Apologies. I've said it many times on podcasts and in episodes and on stream. It's like, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It is not... I don't think it's actually like for reading. I love it, you know, but I definitely acknowledge that it's not for everybody. It is, for the most part, illegible. It's just beautifully illegible. No, I don't use charcoal. I actually tried to throw some charcoal down on a drawing the other day and was immediately reminded of why I don't like it. It's just too messy. Hi, Sammy. I think that's a great move, Scotty. A great, great move. I'm doing everything here with an HB right now. Do you think specificity is important for proficiency? Depends on your goals. Depends what kind of art you want to make. I think if you want to be something like a cartoonist or something, you probably don't need a lot of specificity. Do you ever paint with oils? I used to. Not much these days. I don't have the room for it since I moved to New York. I was painting in oils back when I had more space in Los Angeles. I like how trippy your drawings are. You draw from imagination or use some reference and do your line work. Thank you, Arusha. It depends on the picture. I do all sorts of stuff. This one, for example, is all imagination so far. But if I hit a wall or something like that, I feel no resistance to seeking out reference or making my own. Benjamin Lyons, have you ever studied something for so long it follows you? Example, I studied my wife and know every figure has her joints. Yeah, all the time. I think as things like that accrue over years and years and years, that just becomes the way you draw. Yeah, happy Piquion. One of the reasons I like streaming is showing artists that this stuff takes a long time. Most beginners have very unrealistic expectations for how long it takes to do a drawing. Nabil the Terrified says, project-based art is helping me so much. I feel like I'm doing my best work ever, and I feel like I have so much energy for it. Yep. I am not surprised at all, and that is why I advocate for it. Nope, I don't really animate. I've tried it every now and then, but I'm really a still image, single still image kind of artist. Animation becomes too much about graphic design for me. Like I've said, I know I'm a form-based artist. I'm interested in drawing because I want to make things feel real-ish. You don't get to do that with animation. Obviously, movement makes things feel real, but the individual drawings would never satisfy me. Any drawing crutches to watch out for, or is it liberally just tools and no rules? I feel hesitant to zoom, rotate too much, and would rather develop my dexterity. The biggest crutch I watch out for is finding reasons not to make things. That's the eternal war. That's the number one thing I worry about. My mind offers them up by the hundreds. I have nothing but reasons to quit, to not finish the picture that I'm working on, to jump ship to something else, to drop a project. That's the crutch. That is the mind killer. That is the career ender. That is the life destroyer. That's what I fight against. Hold on, I gotta dance. Your objective is precisely why I tune in, watching and enjoying the pace while I draw along, free from the anxiety that can come from production. The production has its rewards. Well, again, I'm very happy to be of service. I'm glad to provide. You know, I think of myself as like, you know, those pacing bicycles that people use in bike races? Like it's someone who's fresh, who just gets on the track with the person who's in the race and shows them what like 5 miles per hour looks like or whatever. That's me. Anemia, I consider that a pretty good excuse. Seems like a pretty good reason not to draw. I have not read or watched Baki the Grappler. I'm not really a big manga or anime person, though I am trying to make my way through Berserk right now. Berserk is the first manga I've read since I was a kid, since I was like 13. Alex D says, you say there's no good design resources you can recommend, but Scott Robertson taught you at Art Center. Does he not tackle that subject in how to draw or how to render? No, he doesn't. He only covers how to draw and how to render in there, but those are not how to design. I believe, actually, if I'm not mistaken, he did plan on a third book called How to Design. And it was planned, and then he never executed on it because it would probably be too big to print, you know? As someone who's writing an introduction to how to design right now, it's like, I've only been working on it for a couple months, and it's already like, I think if I broke out the script into the number of videos it would take, it's like already over 25 hours of coursework. So yeah, I don't see how, if you really wanted it to be cumulative, it would be a massive book, a massive, massive book. Maybe he'll get to it though. Yeah, I believe the original plan was to have how to draw, how to render, how to design. What motivated you to explore this recent body of work? It's fairly different from your days doing those giant angel and crow pieces. I think you are mistaking me with James Zapata. I believe you're referencing his project Moon and Crow. I may be totally wrong about the name. It's been a while since I've seen those. Zapata is a very common last name. If you had to choose just 3 pencils or tools, what would you do to carry with you everywhere? HB, mechanical pencil. A kneaded eraser. And I actually don't need a third. This is enough. I'll be right back. I gotta go use the restroom. Paper, this is Strathmore 400 series Bristol paper. Why mechanical and not wood? Yeah, I don't have to sharpen it, and this particular pencil is like the pencil I've used most of my life, so I understand its weight perfectly. I can get what I need out of it. Yeah, no teleporting into my living room. Stay out. Do you ever plan to get into 3D sculpting? I think these forms would look awesome as a sculpture. Greetings from Serbia. Greetings from New York City. I sculpt a little bit to make references, but I don't have any plan to get into doing sculpture work on its own, apart from it being in service to drawings. Drawing is definitely my first love, my most prominent love. I love to create the illusion. I'm gonna run in a little bit to go eat some lunch. Be on for a few more minutes, so if you have any last questions or anything like that, throw them in the chat. Steven, do you watch TV series? Yeah. I watch TV with my wife and stuff. Last thing we watched was Squid Game. Watched White Lotus before that. Was watching that new American Crime Story. I really only watch what my wife wants to watch. I don't really watch TV on my own anymore. Well, I can't take credit for the sexy grooves. That would be Lofi Girl. Thank you, Lofi Girl. Thank you for making your streams free to use on other people's streams. Truly, I'm not kidding. The only reason I'm streaming now on YouTube is because Lofi Girl made their streams available for other people's streams. I had wanted to stream for all the time before this, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it with how noisy my environment is with no background music. It was truly just the second Lofi Girl did that, I was like, well, guess I stream every day now. Are you really watching TV or drawing on the couch while the TV is playing? I do draw sometimes while we watch TV. If it's a really bad show, like I didn't like White Lotus, so I was really drawing my way through White Lotus a lot of the time. I also really didn't like the American Crime Story. It is just so not for me. So I'm drawing most of the time while that's on. When you say design, are you referring to the more intuitive aspects of drawing, seeing composition values, etc., making intuitive decisions about what best conveys your intentions for the piece? Yep, basically. It's just that there are frameworks you can use, namely the principles of design, to help you guide those intuitions or to understand them better. But yes, at its core, design can be utterly intuitive. It's just that that doesn't work for everybody. A lot of people like to have a framework. Most artists cannot keep the faith on their own for long enough to get good at design without some sort of life preserver. And the principles of design would be that. Every time I say I'm gonna run, you think I'm gonna go jogging? Well, that is true sometimes. Sometimes I do go for a run after stream. Any book recommendations that best explain the fundamentals of design? Nope. If I had a recommendation, I wouldn't have begun the heavy lift of writing a 40-hour course about it. I would just be telling people, go read that book. If you're curious about the principles of design, you can just Google them. It's just that most everything you're going to find is very cursory. It's like everything you're going to find is going to just tell you, like, repetition is one of the principles of design, but it won't tell you how to apply that to a drawing. So you just learn it by brute forcing your way through it, getting the feel for what works and what doesn't? You can, but you don't have to. Like I said, a knowledge of the principles of design and how they interact with the elements of design lets you not brute force it. Don't worry, I'm working on it. Give me a year. There's just not a lot of good resources out there for it because, yeah, I mean, it's just such a heavy lift, you know? It's the reason design schools exist, right? It's the reason people go to design school for 4 years, is to get to grapple with the principles of design. So there's no real good resources out there online because it's like, you know, if you're gonna do it seriously, it's like, okay, I have to make 40 hours of content to explain it. So that's why no one has done it. I'm trying. Give me a year. Hey Steven, how long do you draw each day on average? These days, like somewhere between 2 and 4 hours a day on average. But whenever I'm not drawing, I'm either writing about art or talking about art with people. So art is always on the mind, and art principles and everything like that. The writing is especially helpful. All right, peeps, I'm gonna run. Hunger has taken over me. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Francesco. Goodbye, Napothium. Goodbye, Prod. Goodbye, Gooch Canoe. Goodbye, Sith Sloth. Goodbye, Kyle. Goodbye, it is what it is. Goodbye, Vax. Goodbye, everybody. It's time for me to go. Do you like poetry? Not most of it. I don't really read poetry much. Paradise Lost is the only poem I've ever really gotten into. I guess you might say I like epic poetry. I like Paradise Lost. I've read the Iliad. I've read the Odyssey. But like more contemporary poetry or anything like that, I don't read any of that. I don't read contemporary poets or anything of the sort. Yeah, Gooch Canoe makes me laugh every time. I like to write the occasional poem or vignette to accompany a drawing, but it's I'm always aware that it's uninformed and not good. It's just me writing what comes out naturally. Bye, everybody. Bye, Eva. I know you said hello, but instead, goodbye. By Deepak, by Andre, by Francesco. Good luck with all your drawings today. Thank you for drawing today. Good luck with all of your endeavors, not just your drawing endeavors. Will there be a stream later today? Nope. I've got to teach my workshop today. Bye, 606. Bye, Gabby. Peace, everyone.